Hello, my name is Tony. The man from Hong Kong rocked up towards the glory days fag end of the early 70s chop socky craze. An Australian-Chinese co-production masterminded by first-time big-screen director-screenwriter Brian Trenchard Smith. It represented the primary step in forming the subgenre that became known as Ozploitation cinema. Put simply, films of an exploitation nature made in the land down under. Trenchard Smith forged something of a career associated with such endeavours. In a deal with Shaw Brothers' Golden Harvest Company, the film was originally conceived of as a potential vehicle for Bruce Lee. When he inconveniently went and died bloody thoughtless of him, Taiwanese martial artist, actor, director and screenwriter Jimmy Wang Yu was given his first role in an English-speaking movie. Wang Yu was famous on his home turf as a prolific and experienced star of many domestic kung fu outings. So, a fitting choice to headline even though he needed dubbing. One-time James Bond actor George Lazenby, who only played James Bond one time, was drafted in as second fiddle. Ironically, Lazenby was cast as a Bond-type villain in a Bond-influenced movie. How's that non-Bond superstar career going then, George? Not quite in the toilet yet. I caught up with it when on holiday in Cornwall. We were staying in Wadebridge and it was showing at the local flea pit, the Regal, which I believe is still up and running today. My parents wanted to do something I didn't want to do, which covered just about everything, so I went and saw this instead. I remember it was boiling hot and horribly humid in the cinema. No aircon back then, kids. You are fucking spoilt, you are. And your arse and back sort of stuck to the seats, providing that added atmospheric sense that you really were in Australia, like a sense around equivalent for your epidermis. It was either an evening with Little and Large at some theatre in St. Austell or the man from Hong Kong in a faux velvet sweatbox in Wadebridge. I still kinda think I got the best end of that deal. The film is about Hong Kong Special Branch Detective Inspector Fang Sing Leng, Jimmy Wang Yu. I can only say that line because I haven't had a drink yet. Later it will be you won't understand it. He's sent to Sydney to extradite a prisoner wanted for drugs offences and murder in Hong Kong. The prisoner, Win Chan Sammo Hung, was arrested by Inspector Bob Taylor Robert Ward after a chase and fight on top of Ayers Rock as part of a police sting on a drug deal. Chan can't speak English, if you can believe that, so Fang will interrogate him before dragging him back to China. Before Fang leaves Hong Kong, he meets hang-gliding journalist Caroline Thorne Ross Spears after she lands her glider, or kite as she calls it, in the middle of one of his martial arts training sessions. Within no time he's shagging her in a scene of sweat-soaked eroticism. Yeah, right. She happens to live in Sydney, which might prove helpful later. Well, you get the impression it will. The film has more signposting than the M5 after a 50-car pile-up. Landing in Sydney, the place, not the person, Fang is met by Taylor and his narcotics squad chum, Sergeant Maury Gross, Hugh Keys Byrne. Gross either spends a lot of time working undercover or is the world's scruffiest, least hygiene-conscious copper. Fang's painstakingly subtle, intricately sensitive interrogation techniques, kung-fuing the living hell out of Chan and beating him with a wooden stool in his cell, causes him to spill that he was working for Jack Wilton, George Lazenby, a rich and powerful businessman who owns a martial arts school, has political juice and is the biggest crime boss in the country, virtually untouchable due to his connections. Fang, Bob, Maury and Chan sound like the start of a culturally sensitive Enid Blyton book. Head for the airport, but a sniper, Grant Page, whacks the prisoner. Cue fast and frantic foot chase resulting in a violent and destructive beat-em-up in a restaurant, and clues leading to Wilton's martial arts school. Seemed the sniper was one of his employees. When Fang and Bob attempt to gain an audience with Wilton, their efforts are thwarted by his front-of-house secretary Willard, Frank Thring. Fang re-engages with Caroline and persuades her to take him to one of Wilton's parties, which quickly descends into another chop-socky punch-up. Fang decides to break into Wilton's martial arts school in search of clues and evidence, but it's more of an excuse for another protracted kung fu set piece, as a gang of the school's pupils attack. Seriously wounded, Fang escapes, hitching a ride in the van of passing student Angelica Rebecca Gilling and her friend Mei Ling Elaine Wong. They take him to Rebecca's father's place in the country. The old man is a veterinary surgeon who unquestionably patches Fang up. With remarkable healing powers particular only to a kung fu master, Fang is up and around in no time, engaged in a romantic montage with Angelica in which they date, bond and fuck at light speed. Shame then this carefully developed relationship ends so abruptly. Driving back to the city in Angelica's van, one of Wilton's goons on a motorbike plants a magnetic mine on the back and blows it up, killing Angelica. Luckily, Fang survives, and equally luckily, a motorist just happened to be passing in an electric blue Chrysler Valiant Charger, which is unceremoniously ripped out of by Fang. A big bollocking car chase ensues. Fang contacts Caroline. Remember I said she'd prove helpful later? And borrows her hang glider. Wilton has barricaded himself in his penthouse with a steel plate shutter sealing the entrance. No good, matey, as Fang hang glides onto the roof and abseils down and through the window. Wilton has a massive vault full of drugs, money, guns and explosives, like you would. Fang takes a bag of smack from the store as evidence, and duct tapes a timed hand grenade into Wilton's mouth. This is after he sets him on fire for a bit. He's soon put out. Fang threatens to pull the pin and lock him in the vault if he doesn't sign a confession, which he does, as I no doubt would under the circumstances, what with a bomb taped in my pie hole. Distracted by one of Wilton's goons arriving on the scene, Fang accidentally pulls the pin. Oops. He chucks Wilton in the vault, locks it and abseils down to the ground where Bob and Maury are waiting. Fang gives them the dope and the confession. The penthouse explodes. Case closed. One thing you can't accuse this film of is lack of ambition. It wants to be so many things all at once. Dirty Harry, James Bond, Enter the Dragon, nearly all the key tropes from those films are thrown into the mix. There is a hell of a stunt team working overtime, and restless momentum and action is something the man from Hong Kong is never short of. But it's competing in a market that is one defined by a veneer of steely gloss and stylish slickness, competent professional scripting and much bigger budgets. I don't mind the overall look of it. It was lensed by Russell Boyd, who worked with Peter Weir on the contemporary new wave of Australian art house flicks. It can't compete with the fashionable opulence of Bond or the refined grit and streetwise style of the American cop thrillers of the time, so it has more of an upgraded grindhouse veneer with a palette and grain emulating Golden Harvest film stock. Visually, it's an interesting combination, but one that makes it look a bit on the El Cheapo side. The score by Noel Quinlan is a funky, farting, substandard disco workout, but it does have a dedicated theme song fronting it, Sky High by British band Jigsaw. Never heard of them? Well, that's because it was a one-hit wonder back in the day, but it's not massively objectionable and it fits the film quite well. It's no Bond theme, and Quinlan is definitely no Lalo Schifrin. Still. Trenchard Smith's direction and script, though, are something else. He has the Tin Man's ear for dialogue, and that which he has written is mostly cliched junk that really grates whenever anybody opens their mouths and sallies forth. If there was ever a case for bringing back silent movies, here it rests. The verbal communiques are garbage, and so is the narrative structure. It's a stumbling mess that acts as an illogical random framework to lead in and link to the action set pieces. And while we're on the subject, the romantic interlude montage with Angelica is a completely unnecessary diversion, as well as being really badly done in the most grueling and cheesy of ways. If you don't cringe, your toes don't curl, and you don't reverse hiss like you've sucked on a fermented lemon, then your tolerance for soul-destroying doe-eyed sludge must be off the fucking chart. Fang and Angelica walk in the countryside, grinning with goofy adoration at each other. Fang goons, mugs and frolics around like a diabetic puppy after a glucose enema. They ride horses, they swim and splash each other playfully. Angelica is unselfconsciously braless under her sweater, a signpost to where this is headed. They picnic beside a waterfall with a blazing barbecue and enough provisions to feed an entire Liberian village for 5 weeks. Angelica is in a bikini by then, and soon the top is off and the tits are out. Signposted destination arrived at. This really so badly needed to not be in the film. In a different type of movie, one by Mel Brooks probably, I might convince myself it was meant as a parody. Here I don't think it was. In fact, I'm pretty bloody sure it wasn't. If the intention was to establish an emotional connection between Fang and a love he loses, to strengthen his dedication to his mission with an additional revenge element applied, it just doesn't work, because it's not part of any story or character arc, and like me, you probably won't care a shit about it anyway. Acting wise, what can I say? Jimmy Wang Yu radiates confidence and charisma as a convincing physical presence and skilled martial artist. George Lazenby's on-screen performance skills have advanced since his Bond days to the level of, no, not at all. Without that Bond history wallpapered over him and the guidance of a competent director, he's more wooden than ever. He is moderate fun to watch though, especially in sneering, glowering, villainous mode. Favourite moment is at Wilton's party when he shoots an apple off the head of his girlfriend with a crossbow. Girl is clearly shitting her knickers and Lazar manages a gnarly display of toxic misogyny as he relishes the moment. Another thing I felt jarred with his character was this. Wilton is supposed to be a devoted martial artist, surrounds himself with elaborate trappings of Chinese culture, yet is openly demeaning and racist to and about the Chinese. Didn't add up. Everyone else is a thinly drawn cartoon character, which, in the case of the two detectives, Bob and Maury, can be quite amusing as they banter together blokishly and obliviously through the mayhem. So what works, if anything? What does it have to recommend it? Put simply and concisely, the second unit input, the action set pieces, and the locations. The action sequences are fucking great. From the opening intro at Ayers Rock through to the climactic assault on Wilton's penthouse, it's a barrel load of fun. The martial arts confrontations are gorier than most. You break someone's nose, claw someone's face, slash someone's flesh, there will be blood. And there is. Lots of it. Fang is wounded frequently and bleeds a lot, but thanks to his almost supernatural and inexplicable self-healing powers, one minute he's slashed to ribbons, bruised, bleeding, broken, the next minute he is restored without a scratch and striding on to the following escapade. The violence is quite intense and bone-crunchingly sadistic, and you gotta love it for that. Well, I do. The car chase following Angelica's death is a class act, a real old-school smash-em-up with real vehicles and real stunt drivers for real, and real cars that blow up as though it's second nature for them to self-destruct. It's a stunner. I'll stick my neck out here and class it as a top 10 movie car chase, along with Bullet, The French Connection and The 7-Ups. Nowhere near as good as those top 5ers admittedly, but it is bloody good. And who doesn't want to see a Chinese super cop hang gliding above Sydney Harbour on his way to give George Lazenby a bloody good kick-in? I must also confess that the final scene made me smile involuntarily. When Fang abseils down the building to meet with Bob and Maury, he hands them the drugs and the confession.
What do you do if an encore?
Bob and Maury laugh heartily, whilst Fang just rolls his eyes and gives them a "Ah, you guys" expression as Jigsaw's theme song kicks in again for the final credits. It's dumb, shallow, stupid, mindless, witless, all those things. But I will maintain until my dying day, it was way better than An Evening with Little and Large. It entertains on a very primal level of mostly masculine appeal, and goes down even better with a few lagers chugged into the old nervous system. In the States, it was given the moronic title of The Dragonflies, which feels like a remarkably uncreative and ineffective attempt to bandwagon jump Enter the Dragon. Hey, kung fu flick, there's a hang glider in it, stick dragon in the title and something about flying, gotta be a winner. I have a soft spot for Brian Trenchard Smith and his output. He's one of those maverick filmmaking characters I seem to increasingly appreciate in this day and age. So much so, I feel I might even review his turkey shoot one day. Isn't that something to look forward to? Thanks a lot for your time and attention. Feel free to do whatever you choose to do next. Hit like, don't like, comment, subscribe, check out my early access Patreon thing, or even make a welcome financial contribution via the thanks button. Hope to be back with something else in the future. Meanwhile, take good care of yourselves, pilgrims.